All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the third part of the show, we are going to now get into talking about the Bills Ravens game for this weekend. That's one of the biggest games of the weekend. I mean, you could definitely point to some other um, games as well. I know Packers Vikings, that game has some heavy implications. Um, early on, especially if Jordan Love comes back. But this game is huge, I think. You got two of the best quarterbacks in the NFL in Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. Josh Allen right now is playing like the best quarterback in the NFL. I mean, obviously that crown still does go to Patrick Mahomes, but at least right now, Josh Allen is playing like the best quarterback, and he is the front runner for MVP early on in this season. So, yeah, and these two teams, the last time they met it was like early on in the 2022 season. The Bills had a comeback win in that game, and that was in Baltimore. Um, wrong thing. Here we go. Yeah, so it was a comeback win for the Bills. Yeah, and Lamar Jackson, he won the first matchup between these two quarterbacks, but then in the playoffs they matched up during the COVID season. Josh Allen won that game, and then they won. Josh Allen won against Lamar in that comeback win, like I said, from a couple of years ago. I think that's it. I don't know if I'm missing any other matchups, but I think that's it. I'm just gonna do a quick check here. But yeah, this is this is gonna be an interesting game. The Bills are coming in as the the hottest team in the NFL right now at 3-0. Yeah, so Lamar has a 2-1 record against Josh Allen. Actually, that's interesting because okay, so I guess I am missing another game. But yeah, Josh Allen beat him in the playoffs though. But yeah, the Bills are coming in at 3-0. Ravens coming in at 1-2. They picked up their first win against the Dallas Cowboys, a game that they almost ended up losing. Cowboys almost came back, but that didn't happen. So yeah, this is a big game early on, and the Bills, like I said, they are playing really well right now. I mean that dominating performance against the Jaguars. I don't think they're going to do that in this game. This game is going to be a lot closer. This is going to be competitive, but yeah, it's going to be a tough game on both sides. How are the Bills? How are they going to handle the rushing attack of the Ravens with Lamar Jackson, with Derrick Henry? Derrick Henry coming off of a good game against the Cowboys, a couple of touchdowns. How are the Ravens going to slow down this Bills offense with Josh Allen and him spreading the ball around? And that's something that he emphasized going into the season, is spreading the ball around. And this version of the Bills offense is really clicking right now. Because you don't have that one guy that you got to force feed the ball. And that's kind of what it was with Stephon Diggs. And Stephon Diggs is a very good receiver, and he was very productive for the Bills in the years that he was with Buffalo. But now, you got young guys like Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir that are playing well. You got the tight ends, Curtis Samuel, James Cook. You could throw passes to him out of the backfield. There's a lot of different ways the Bills can beat you. And, of course, you got Josh Allen, who could take off and run with it himself. The Bills look really good right now. And, for the Ravens, they should be 2-1 had they not blown that 10-point lead at home to the Raiders. But that ended up happening. For some reason, Gardner Minshew owns the Ravens. So, to kind of look at their rankings, so the Bills, surprisingly, are 17th in passing yards per game. I mean, Josh Allen really didn't have to do much in week 2 against the Dolphins. The Bills' defense dominated that game. Josh Allen, James Cook had a big game. Josh Allen really didn't have to do much. Ravens are 11th in passing yards per game, 234 passing yards per game. And in terms of rushing, the Ravens are second in rushing yards per game, 203.3 rushing yards. To the Bills, who are 14th, they're averaging 120. Then, in terms of points per game, Bills are first, averaging 37.3, and the Ravens are 11th, averaging 23.7. Then for the defense, the Bills are 11th against the pass, 16th against the run, and 7th in points allowed. The Ravens are 32nd against the pass, 1st against the run, and then 24th in points allowed, giving up 26 points per game. So you look at that and you think, yeah, advantage Bills, right? For me, though, I actually am going to lean towards taking the Ravens in this game. It's hard for me to see them lose their first 2 home games. Now, can it happen? Absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up being the case. But I do think that the Bills are due for at least one loss here. And this is going to be a tough game in Baltimore. And Josh Allen hasn't thrown an interception this year. And that's been the key to the Bills' success, or one of the keys to the Bills' success, is Josh Allen being able to, minimize, or right now at least eliminate the turnovers. So we'll see what happens now taking on the Ravens, because this is the best. Now, record-wise, the Ravens should have a better record, but this is the best team that the Bills will have gone up against so far. The Cardinals, they look like they're going to be better than a lot of people anticipated. The Dolphins, I guess, were the best opponent at that point, even though it was only week 2. But the Bills kind of always beat the Dolphins. And then they just played the Jaguars, who look like one of the worst teams in football. So this is the best opponent that the Bills will have gone up against up to this point. And again, I think it's going to be a very competitive game. I think it'll be very close. I think it wouldn't surprise me if the game is a 3-point game. But yeah, I got the Ravens winning a close one. I'm gonna say 24-21. I'm gonna say that's the final score. A little bit more low scoring, but yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, the Bills, I don't see them going up and down the field and not punting until the fourth quarter again. That's not going to happen in this game. But I'm curious to see how it goes. For the Ravens, you'd like to see guys like Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely get more involved. Isaiah Likely had a monster week 1, but it's been quiet since then. It's probably because I have him in my fantasy lineup now, which I kind of figured that was what was going to happen, but still. Want to see, Zay Flowers maybe get more involved too. If the Ravens are going to be throwing it in this game, which they are, but you want to see those guys get more involved. But yeah, I mean, if the game plan is run it with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, you find success in the running game, you continue to do that. Because that's what the Ravens are. They're more of a running team. But you'd like to see some of these pass catchers get more involved. How is this Ravens defense going to stop Josh Allen? What are they going to cook up? I mean, I don't think they're really going to stop him, but they're going to try to at least slow it down. The Bills are going to put up points in this game, and the Ravens are going to have to keep up. If they can keep this game close, they could play their style of running the football. But if they're going to have to throw it a bunch of times, that could be a problem. But really, the issue for the Ravens is being able to close out games. They, for some reason, just can't do that. I mean, week 2 against the Raiders, they blow that 10-point lead. And then, against the Cowboys, they almost let the Cowboys come back. But, there was an onside kick in that game. So, that kind of factored into the Cowboys making a push for a comeback. But that's something that they got to clean up. They definitely have to clean it up. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, 24-21, I have the Ravens winning, to even up their record at 2-2. Because yeah, they don't want to go to 1-3. On top of that, you got the Bengals who are 0-3 in their division right now. It's really surprising what the AFC North looks like right now. But it's not going to stay that way. It's going to change. But you got to give credit to the Steelers, the start that they've gotten off to. The Browns, that's the team that might end up finishing in last place, to be honest, the way things are going. So we'll see how it goes, but this could be another good game between these two quarterbacks, and we will see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. How do you see this game playing out? It's going to be one of the best games of the weekend, in my opinion. So, yeah, it should be a lot of fun to watch this game. So, we're going to take our next break, and then when we come back, we will talk about the big college football matchups for this weekend. We'll kind of take a look back at week 4 in college football, but then we'll also look at the early slate of games in the NFL. We'll take a look at those. And yeah, I mean, there's definitely some good games in college football to keep an eye on. Even the games last week, there were some that were very good. I was able to catch the end of the Baylor-Colorado game, but I actually missed, one of the big plays in that game towards the end that kind of set up the overtime. But that was a good game. Yeah, we'll get into all those games, and then obviously, like I said, we'll take a look at some of the big matchups for this weekend. We got Alabama, Georgia, which is always fun to see those teams match up, and then also get into talking about the early slate of games for Sunday in the NFL. So, with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.